Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Late Night Frights. My name is Jeremy, and this week we are back with our horror battles. So last week we had a theme, and that was our psychological horror theme. So if you haven't watched that, definitely go and check that out. And since we are back with our horror battles, I decided to battle The Strangers and You're Next. But before I start the battle, as usual, I'm going to review both of these films briefly, and then the battle will commence. So we'll start off with The Strangers. Okay guys, so The Strangers was made back in 2008. The director is Brian Bertino, and it stars Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler. And so the general plot for The Strangers is, after returning from a wedding reception, a couple staying in an isolated vacation house receive a knock on the door in the mid-hours of the night. And what happens next is truly terrifying. And before I go to Your Next, I do want to say that this movie does scare me. Not like, I jump in my seat, but the thought of being powerless in your own house. Not being in control in a place that should be safe. That's what, scares me. That thought of not being safe no matter where you're at. Even if it's in your own walls. So that's what I really do like about this movie. But let's get on to Your Next. Okay, so Your Next was made back in 2011, and the director is Adam Wingard. And it stars Sharni Vinson, Joe Swanberg, and A.J. Bowen. So the general plot for Your Next is, when the Davison family comes under attack during their wedding anniversary getaway, the gang of mysterious killers soon learns that one of their victims harbors a secret talent for fighting back. And that is the general plot for Your Next. So without any further ado, let's get on to the horror battle. Alright guys, so round one is story. Which one of these films had the better story? And me personally, I would say that is The Strangers. Just due to the fact that, what I said earlier, basically, in this video, not being safe in your own house. They learn in the movie that they could come in at any time and kill them, but they want to toy with them to, play head games. And so, that's what really got to me, is the fact that they was never safe, that they could come in at any time. And the same thing kind of is indicated with Your Next, but the thing I love about The Strangers is the reasoning why, they're doing this to these people. And that is simply because they were home. And that is the only reason, and I think that is very dark, and that is very twisted, and that's why I really do like this movie. But getting off of this, let's go to round two, and that is effects. Which one of these films had the better effects? I would probably have to go with Your Next. I liked a lot of the effects in that movie. Some of them weren't that great, but that's with all movies, honestly. But I really do like a lot of the kills in Your Next, and I just think it has the better effects overall. And round three is acting. Which one had the better acting in it? That's a tough one for me. I think both of these films had pretty decent actors and actresses in them. I'd probably have to go with The Strangers, though. Just because throughout that entire film, it's a sense of paranoia. And the fear seems genuine in both of these films, in some parts, but I think The Strangers just pulled it off a lot better, even though I love both movies. I just think The Strangers had a stronger cast. But you might disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But moving on to round 4, and that is gore. Which one had the most gore to it, and that would be definitely You're Next. That had a lot of blood, a lot of kills, and just blood was everywhere towards the end. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So that, without a doubt, goes to You're Next. And the final round is kills. Which one of these films had the higher body count, and that would have to be You're Next. And so if you've been keeping track with the rounds, you know that You're Next has won this horror battle. I didn't think it would, but when I really thought about these categories, it won by a single point. And I thought that The Strangers would win, but You're Next had better effects. Well, it had a lot more of effects, and I really do like the effects in that movie. So it had better effects, a lot more gore to it, and a lot more kills. And that's the 3 rounds that made it win, because The Strangers had the better story and the better acting. And so I was actually really surprised with this. But I think that is it for this battle, guys. If you have not seen either of these films, definitely check them out. I know for a fact that You're Next is on Netflix right now. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out on there. I don't think The Strangers is on Netflix, but I haven't really checked to see. Okay, it's not. But also stay tuned for a video from Vanessa, the Horror Ninja, and our newest member, Pierce. So, Pierce, if you're watching this, man, congratulations for passing the 2-week trial, and I can't wait to watch your video this week. And the same goes to everybody else. And so, guys, this is Jeremy telling you to be careful, because you never know what might be lurking in your house, in the shadows of your house. Forget it. See you guys.